So now we're up to a stage where we've got the main limbs in place. We've got the arms. I've got the hips, and we've got the spine plus root. Beautiful. So now we're going to put the hands in. The hands are fairly easy. It's very much like each digit is more or less the exact same thing. It's just placing it, make sure you get the form. That's the kind of tricky bit. So with our joint tool, what we want to do is we want to actually trace out the knuckles and the tip of the finger on each one of the digits. So if we take the index finger first, we go from the main knuckle to the first knuckle to the second knuckle to the tip. So we should have that, and we basically do that on each one of them, making sure that we're aware that there are differences in length and distance between each digit. It's pretty important that we make sure that these are put in a straight line and there's no bends in it at all. See what I mean? It's annoying. Yep. And for the pinky, oops, right. Yep. Make sure we finish off that. So are the main digits of the hand in place. So with the thumb, we don't put a knuckle about here. We don't put a knuckle around this area because the knuckle, well, the major rotation of the thumb actually comes from back here. If you look on a skeleton hand, you'll see that this spans all the way back here. And even when you move your hand around, you'll see that you don't. When you're moving, when you're making a fist and stuff, and you're grasping items, you move from more or less where the pad of the thumb is, so back here. But this contains the same amount of knuckles as the rest. There you go. So that's the thumb in place. Just while we're here, let's actually name our fingers. So joint set 1 is going to be our index finger. So remember, it's a prefix of left, index, joint. Because this is in a flow of joints, we're going from 1 to 4. We want to end it with a 1, and then we can do that trick where we copy paste the name and then just change the number at the end. 4. Even though this is a tip, in this case we just want to name it 1 to 4, just to keep it nice and clear, because there are so many fingers and joints included on each finger that it just gets a bit messy, and it's much easier if we just add numbers. To cascade these fall down menus in one big go, if you hold shift and click the plus sign, it will cascade everything, so you can open all the joint group at once. So this one is the middle, so left, middle, joint 1, and just go through and rename those. This is the ring, so left, ring, oh, let's see where it's going. This is a bit of a time-consuming point, but it's good to get our name conventions in place early on so we're not messing around. This one is the pinky, left, pinky, and then we're just going to go through and again change the names up to fit with our convention. Right, and this the last one, obviously thumb. Oops. So now that's our name, our fingers all nicely named, and you can see that our outliner now is getting a little bit messy, but that is good, that's what we want. So if we switch back into perspective mode, you'll see that our hands naturally, because we're looking from the side view, laying them in, they're naturally laid into the centre of the world. If we just select each one of the roots, each one of the joint ones of each one of them, and we just scale them across, we'll see that we're moving them all at the same time. The thumb is quite easy to lay in on this character, because as you can see from the front view, the thumb's more or less pointing directly to the camera anyway. So we can move this finger thumb into place, and you know it's there. We don't need to touch it any more than that. So deselect that. Right, so the next step is to move these into position. To the knuckles, make sure that lining up this first joint of each one of the clusters in line with the knuckle of the hand in real life. This can get a little bit finicky, trying to find the right positions, but moving your camera around will help you a lot. And oh, so there you go. So at the minute our fingers are, the knuckles are in the right place, the main knuckles, but the rest of the fingers are facing straight down to the ground, which we don't want. We want to get them curving in this lovely natural rested position for hands. So going back to our joint orientate menu, we want to find the rotation, the orientation that will move these into the right position, and for this, for the first knuckle, it's the Z axis, and then go down, and I think for this knuckle it will probably be the Y axis. Yes, just move that knuckle into a better position. We want to go through and just set up the orientation properly. So we want to get this, if I turn off the geometry, we want to get this sort of sweep in the finger. Just like that. So we want to go through each one of the fingers and select by root. Select the root finger, which is joint 1, and then go to our attributes editor, and then using our control middle mouse over the orientation, we want to move that into a position where the second knuckle, this guy, now lines up with the proper position on the hand. Right there. Forward, like that. I do advise trying to get these into position straight away, like first time off. Moving them around inside the space like this isn't always the best thing to do, but in this case, you know, I'm not particularly bothered. You guys obviously can take a lot more care with yours. There you go. We'll go through, do this one as well. Move the knuckle in Z, go down to second knuckle, Y-axis, bend it round. It doesn't matter that this one is bigger than the others. That's not an issue. And the last one. All this information on how to do this is in the slides provided for you on the student network. This video is just a good way of showing actual practical nature. So there we go. That's our hand in a nice natural position that lines up also with our geometry. And we need to go through now and mirror them over. Now we can't mirror, we can't select all of them and mirror all this at the same time. It just won't allow us to do that. So if we just click the first joint on every one of the hands. Go to skeleton and mirror, make sure all that's collected, make sure L is replaced by R, and then let's go through. Right, we've just used that mirror tool, so if we click on the next joint and then press G for golf, it will repeat the last function, which is the mirror tool, and that will quickly just throw everything over to the other side. It's a nice quick way of doing that. So at the minute we've got everything in position. Our legs are in position, our spine's in position, our arms are in position, and our fingers are in position, and everything is named correctly inside our outliner. It's a bit of a mess, but it's only because we've got a lot of floating groups. Nothing is parented with each other just yet, so we've got all big groups. So, just like we did inside class, now we're going to parent all these different sections together. And I like going for the hips first because we're connecting these with this guy, and that kind of really solidifies the rest of the groups. So, just to reiterate with parents as well, parenting, you want to select the child first, and then select what you want to parent them to. So, if you imagine it in a car, you're going from the kids first to the parent, because the parents are driving the kids. Kids are being driven by the parent. So, select the root, select the hips, and then select spine 1, and then hit P, and there you go. You know it's set up correctly because these little arrows, these little skeleton arrows, will point down the leg. Again, we're following that flow of joints. We go up to the clavicle now. We want to parent those with spine 5. There you go. And then same for the fingers. If we select all the different knuckles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then select the hand joint, hit P, there you go, and then same for the other side. And there you go. So the last joint, or the last object you select, will always be the parent of any parenting group. And with that done, that's now our skeleton all parented together, our basic skeleton parented together. And inside our outliner, everything now lives under this one root. There you go. Which is nice and easy for us. Cool. So next, the next video is going to be, the next video for us is going to be changing the local orientation of each one of these joints. It's a bit of a tedious setup, but it's something that we need to do to make sure that when we do rotate these things for set driven keys, or if you're animating, it's actually going to be rotating around the proper orientation and not whatever is relative to that one joint. Okay, so at this point you need to make an incremental save, so Control Alt S, incremental save, and take a break, and then we'll come back to it.